Okay, Rich. So you're enjoying the Midwest monsoons. Yes?
Right.
Yeah?
Right.
What's it like to be here at
So-
Defense Open?
Oh, dude, this has been a best part of the trip so far. I mean, we've had a great time. We've been on the road about a month, and wife and I have seen a big part of the country from Oregon all the way through Indiana, Missouri, up here. This is a beautiful part of the country. Like, I love it here. It's a little laid back, a little behind in time. The weather was great, and we're at the tail end of the weather. Like, it was great. Grass is green out here.
Yes.
Good lake. Dog friendly.
Yes.
Kid friendly.
People are nice.
People are really
People are very nice. Midwestern people are pretty nice.
I'm from Portland.
Yes. I'm an
Portland.
Oregon fan. You know that.
Yeah, I know.
Married
I know,
in
I
Oregon.
know.
My best friend runs the power grid
Yep.
at PG, does a lot of that. But it's just a very different place. Portland's a city in transition right now.
Yep.
They're dealing with some issues. We talked about that on the
Yep.
podcast. But
Yeah.
coming out here and seeing the Midwest, how you're seeing the Midwest now, what's it been like?
I see it from a different point of view. Now I get to I've been here for the last 2 weeks. So I had a chance to look at houses, look at communities, look at lake, walk my dog in every dog park in this area, and meet people. And it's a beautiful part of the country and really nice people. So, we're looking at some different places to live right now. This tour is about getting our program back up and running and getting into the school system and talking to kids. But we're starting to look around. Portland's not exactly like it was 15 years ago, when we bought a house. So we're thinking about relocating. And so we're checking it out pretty close.
So I'm just such a huge Oregon fan. I spent a week out there this summer. I love Oregon. I told you my best friend moved from your neighborhood. You guys were in essentially the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
You were over by Reed.
Yes.
You were
Reed's
on the
College.
you were on the west side of 99E. He was on the west side of 99E. You were on the east side.
Yep.
You literally were only probably under a quarter mile as a crow flies apart, right?
Probably hit a golf
drive
ball.
a golf ball.
Probably.
Seriously, you guys were
Yep.
that close.
Yep.
But thinking about, Oregon's such a beautiful place. It's where you were born and raised, right? In that greater Portland area. Columbia River Gorge, Willamette Valley. I love it. It's such an awesome place.
The ocean.
Yeah.
Mount Hood.
Yes.
It's,
all of it.
And it's there's a lot of beautiful parts of Oregon in the northwest.
Yeah.
Portland's kind of in a bubble of its own right now.
Yes.
And that's where I own a house.
Yes.
So, we're entertaining some things,
The program.
Yeah.
Be a champion in life. I was texting my friend John Watkins today. The guy, he lives in Sandy now.
Yeah.
Because he moved and, it's a city in transition. Yeah. Anyhow, we were talking about drug addiction.
Yep.
Right? And that's what the basis of everything. You went on fishing boats in Alaska, and that's where you found crystal meth.
Yep.
Right? And we talked about addiction. Addiction's a huge part of your story.
Yep.
We were talking about what addiction does to a person. Right? And chasing the next high.
Yep.
Do you get desensitized the more drugs you do, and how do you chase the next high? That was something him and I were talking about today.
Right. So, yes, you get desensitized, and over time, you lose sense of self altogether. And that feeling, it's gone. You don't get that high again, ever again. You never get that high again. And, chasing that high, chasing that drug, it's a constant chase to get that high you had before, and it'll never be the same. It'll never be that, And at some point, it becomes just maintaining, just thinking it's keeping your sanity and trying to function. But really what you're doing is you're just driving a wedge between everything you love. Just like I said to the kids, it drives a wedge between everything you care about and every goal and aspiration you had in your life. It's a wedge, and it just drives it in between you and those things that are important, and it separates you more and more over time. And by the time I finally got sober, I had been separated from my kids, my family, the things that I wanted to accomplish and succeed. I could not fathom thinking I would be where I'm at today. I had no idea, that I'd be here. Like, it's unfathomable. The problem is that when you're in it, it's hard to get out of it. It's easy to get in it, but it's hard to get out. It's almost impossible to get out at some point, but you got to dig deep, and sometimes you got to hit a serious bottom. Like, you got to hit a serious bottom, and that's the sad part of addiction, is that sometimes we don't make change until it's almost too late, you know. And today we're dealing with death. You know, we got fentanyl. Like, I don't even, like, I haven't had drugs in 20 years. Like, I haven't drank in 20 years. Zeb, they've changed. They've changed. Today we're worried about kids dying, you know. And that's what we need to be talking about. That's what I need to be talking about with the kids, you know. So I just took my story, you know, 15 years of demise, 15 years of poor choices, 15 years of chasing and using drugs, living a criminal convict lifestyle, you know, getting sober. Now here we are 20 years later, I've tilted the scales out. But now I have a whole bunch of experience making the right choices. And so we've kind of boxed that up into a program. It's like these kids and people need to understand what it could look like, you know. And also it's one of the big messages is it's never too late to change the course of your life. I mean, I got sober at 34. Made a comeback in wrestling at 38, you know. And so, you know, we're always, there's fear and anxiety of making change, fear and anxiety of chasing your dream, fear and anxiety, it's too late, I missed the boat, all these excuses, all these things, you know. And all I need is one reason to do it, one good reason to do it, and I'm doing it, you know. And that's kind of what I've been doing, is chasing that one good reason on a lot of different boxes that people thought, that ex-convict, that addict, that stigma, you know, you can't go do any of those things, you know. Well, I've slowly been checking boxes one by one over the last 20 years, and you know what I found is that, you know, I believed that I could, and I wasn't going to let anybody tell me I couldn't. I was at least going to attempt and chase it so I could say I did everything I could to get there, you know. But we've been able to accomplish some unbelievable things with that history. Imagine what these kids can do. Imagine what people can do if they didn't dig themselves in the hole I did and went and chased their dreams, chased their goals, stayed focused, and worked hard to accomplish some better things in their life and succeed. Like, you know, I think it's self that keeps us stuck. It's self that, you know, it's our head. It's, you know, you got to believe in yourself, you know.
6 or 7 years.
You got to believe in yourself.
6 or 7 years you were in penitentiary. You lived 6 to 7. So it was 6.5 years, I want to say. Is what you told
6
me.
to 7 years.
6 to 7 years you were in the state penitentiary system in the state of Oregon. In
jail and prison.
Jail or prison, right? You were just in different types of lockup, right?
Yep.
Not free to move about.
No, in a box.
Yes.
23 hours a day. Yes.
And then your mom passed away while you were in one time. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you realize it, but like you're in the cell. Did you ever see yourself in the cell in the deepest despair you were in? You're probably withdrawing. You're in a cell. You want drugs. You're dope sick. But did you ever see yourself talking to a group of kids? And now you're talking to auditoriums full of kids? Did you ever see it? Was it ever even a thought in your mind?
Couldn't even fathom it, you know. I do know that never fathomed it for 1 second, all those times I got locked up until the very last time. The very last time I was in jail or in prison for a whole year. And the time before that I was in prison for a year too. But I never fathomed it until that last time. I was at the end. Once you're at the end, that's the other thing. Like once you're at the end and you know you're going to do everything you can to make change, things start changing, you know. And that last year, I did dream about wrestling. Okay, not talking to kids. I had no idea I'd be talking to kids all across the country, Zeb, and sharing my message and trying to change people's lives. But I thought about wrestling. Like here I am. I'm this 15 years. I'm in prison. I'm in maximum state prison, and I'm thinking about wrestling. I remembered what it was like in my life. I remembered I remembered that coach, H.D. Waddell, when I was in high school, who treated me like one of his top athletes, Zeb. And I was a 500 wrestler. I was a 50-50 wrestler, okay? But I felt like I was a state champion. The culture and the belief, the coaching philosophy and belief system that he brought in the room made a guy like me feel like a top athlete. And that environment, and I just kept thinking about that. Best times in my life were in the wrestling room. Best times in my life, best people around me, best friends. I felt like I was a part of something. I felt I was a wrestler, you know, and even though I was away from the sport that long, here I am. I'm sober for about a year. I'm in prison getting sober. My mom passed away. I'm in prison. I hit my bottom. And I'm starting to reflect on my life, man. I'm locked up for a long period of time. I'm thinking about my life. I'm thinking about the good times and the times when life was good. And when life was good for me when I was growing up, it was in rooms like this, Zeb. Rooms like this were the recipe for success for me as a kid. And so I was like, God, I wonder if I can be part of a team again. You know?
Coach Roden ultimately let you be on the team.
Coach Roden took me in.
But it's weird because you're like you're 13,
I'm 10 years older than the
10
coach.
years older. You're 10, 12 years older than the road dog.
Yeah.
The road, you got this kid, you're bigger than him.
Yeah.
He's like, he didn't look like he was in that good of shape.
Yep.
He was a convict. He goes, but the guy came on, he worked.
I showed up. And
Yeah.
I kept showing up.
He kept showing up.
And they're like, I'll make it 2 weeks. I kept showing up. 2 years later, I became part of that team, you know, and became a role model on that team.
So he won 4 in a row, and then now he's at Oregon State.
Yeah.
Yeah. But were you on the early team? Because he won in the early years.
No.
And then he didn't win for a really long time.
I was on the very first team that Roden was back. First time they placed in the national tournament in decades.
Got it.
Yeah.
So you were a part of like his
the
rookie
first
year.
Got it. Getting it rolling, yeah.
Yeah, and then he won early on
And then
after you, right after you, he won
within
early
a couple
on.
years.
And then he didn't win again until these
And then
4 people.
boom.
Yeah,
boom.
they won like
What?
17, 18, 19, 20, I want to say.
Yeah.
Or whatever it was.
Record score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
22,
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, they created a place. They did something that's, you know, they created a winning culture and community, you know.
It's
within
Clackamas is Oregon City, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's weird to me is like this is the same area where you were probably robbing people, probably doing drug deals,
Right up the
probably
road,
doing
right up the
horrible,
road, right up
right?
the
Like,
road.
but then you changed
yeah.
your life in the same place.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of people are just stuck in the
They wanna
same
relocate,
cycle. It's a rut.
yeah.
I got to go. I need a reset. I need to start,
Yep.
right?
I was done. Zeb, I was done. At that point, I was done. Of course, I went out and got some help, found AA, got some counseling and some mentorship, but I was done and found wrestling. That's a pretty good I had an edge. I had a chance. But I was done. And once I was done, that was it. And, you know, it's kind of like the story of my life. Once I set my mind on something, I'm after it. I'm like a dog on a bone when I'm chasing.
Yeah.
Whether it's a national title or getting my record expunged or building this be a champion business or maybe, you know, whatever it is.
The garage.
The garage, you know.
Yeah. Well,
It's
the garage,
my
ultimately,
family,
if you think about
building
it,
a relationship with my family, like it's all.
The garage, though. The garage helped you become a productive
Yeah.
adult who could earn a living.
Yep.
Which is for a lot of ex-cons
Yeah.
who have X amount of felonies.
Created my own job.
It's hard to do.
Yep.
It's hard to do because like a lot of businesses are obviously reluctant to hire felons. You made your own break.
Yep. I started my own business. I said,
Started your own garage.
from zero.
Yeah.
And here we are, you know.
3 employees, I think it
Yeah.
was the last time we talked,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And they delivered an Emmy. They delivered an Emmy award to the garage.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You
I
delivered
told
your Emmy award. And
Yep.
the guy was like, I've never seen an
Yeah.
Emmy award. It was from ESPN,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
You told me that story.
Yep.
ESPN delivered your Emmy award
on the desk. And I'm like,
to your garage.
the-
Where, is your garage in Portland?
Yeah. Southeast.
It's not Gresham or it's Portland.
It's actually out that way.
Oh,
Yeah,
is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it was great. You know, the UPS guy's like, "Can I open this with you?"
That's so
and I'm
awesome.
like, "Yeah, of course." You know, and I'm opening it. I'm in tears. It's like, you know, this is like one of the biggest gifts somebody could give me. You know. And it just meant a lot, and in the story, and it impacted so many people, and it impacted ESPN and the employees, and here we are, you know. Now I got an Emmy in my trophy case, you know.
Listen, I had to have it on the Barbarian Hour when we did the podcast, but this is a relationship sport, right?
Yeah.
This is all about building relationships. All sports are. Everything, where if you want to have a positive culture, is relationship based. But now you're doing camps, you're doing, you know, a book tour, you're doing a motivational and, you know, a tour of how to live your life like a champion, right?
Yeah.
Be a champion in life, right? Beating addiction, all these other things, but you're making relationships. You got Guy Seiko. I saw Chance Marsteller was out in Oregon. When I was out in Oregon, he was actually with you on the coast.
Yep.
And he's got a story of he's beaten addiction and his, in matches with Jordan Burroughs and Final X and Madison Square Garden. Then you got Seth Gross, who wrestles for a world medal this year, takes 5th ultimately. But you're building these relationships with these people who some of them are second chance people. Guy is not that. Guy was a police officer. He said it. He said it. He's like, we're opposite end of the spectrums. He couldn't believe it. He's like, we're opposite end of the spectrums, but he did his homework on you. Called Linland, called guys out there in Oregon, and he found out about you. He found out your story. But the relationships. What are the relationships mean to you that you've built and helping people get on track, saving people's lives, and sharing stories of, helping people.
Yeah, and it's a testament to wrestling and the community within wrestling, because obviously I've made connections all across the country. I've been in lots of D1 rooms and lots of wrestling rooms, spoke to hundreds and thousands of kids in the school system, and without the relationships, building the relationship, what it does is it's a testament to the stigma is dead. The stigma's dead. Like, I'm not that guy anymore, and people need to accept that, and know that, like, we can build relations together. We can be from 2 different parts of the world and hang out and play in the same sandbox, And, but years ago, I would have never thought that, I'm real tenacious. I traveled a lot. I went to all the tournaments. I call all the D1 coaches to say, hey, I'm dropping in, or clubs, I'm dropping in, just to say hello, just to meet your kids, just to talk to them. Shake hands and meet some of your athletes. I've had Mark Hall out there. I've had Dylan Reel out there. I've had so many of these great athletes because I've built relationships with coaches and with those athletes because I've followed them for so many years. I've been clean almost 20 years. I've been following these kids since they were little kids. And now they're elite athletes. Like, hey, I want to connect with, with more people that, I just, that's what I do. I'm a connections person, Frank Papalizio out of Journeyman Wrestling, Pat Smith, John Smith, Pat Papalizio. Like, these guys would have never been in my world, but wrestling has given me an opportunity to be in that space, and they're some of the best coaches and athletes in the country, right? They're the best at what they do, right? Well, I'm a doctor at this right here. Mm-hmm. I'm a doctor at making really poor choices. I'm a doctor at making really good choices. And so I bring a different element in there, and I can bring value to their room. They're the best at what they do. I'm the best at what I do, And one of the best qualities I have is connecting with people. This is real life.
Yeah, you sent me a text today.
It's life.
Right?
Yeah.
You sent me a text today. Like, I was going to stay home. I was home with my kid all day. My kid's sick, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, if I can make it out there, if my wife come home from school, I spent all day with a sick kid. And then if I can come out here tonight and, it's a positive thing, and you kind of just reminded me.
Hey.
And it wasn't that hard, right?
No.
My wife got home by about 4 o'clock. I got on the road about 4:15. We're here.
Yep.
Right? So
building relations.
Yeah.
Building
and I missed you in Oregon too.
Yeah. No, but it's like we've connected. We've connected on the podcast. We've chatted a little bit. We've texted a little bit. We've connected tonight. It's building relations through that, taking a moment of time and connecting with people, And that's one of the things I'm really good at. It's like, hey, I'm in town, or hey, can I drop in? It's just, I just feel like it's the key to success is connecting with people. It's not, there's no, I'm not looking for the certain people in certain levels and this and that. It's like just connecting with people. It's human connection, dude. And it has helped me get here. So,
the thing that impressed me tonight was in the corner over here. You were working with a kid, 52 years old.
Yeah.
Right? You're a guy who had 20 really hard years of living. You're in great shape.
Yeah.
You can still move.
Yeah.
You were still hitting you had a nice little duck. You like a nice little duck, like where you're kind of, where you're.
You can see there was a move there at one time.
No, and then your knee slide was good. Everything looked good. Your penetration was good on your shots.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
But you're helping the kid too.
Yeah.
You're helping the kid too. You're not just pounding him.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, that's the most impressive thing to me. And you did it for about half an hour.
Yeah, I got
But
my
like,
work.
you're acting like if it was me, it would be like 5 minutes.
I got my work
I'd be like,
out
all right,
there.
I'm done. You know what I mean? But
Well,
you got a half hour in.
Well, it's important because it's good for my soul. It's good for me, but also it's good for these kids to get their hands on me a little bit, as long as I can still,
Yeah.
because now you don't want to just be up on the podium speaking to the kids.
Yeah.
You want to connect with them on a higher level. So it's more tangible. It's more touchable. It's more.
It was awesome.
It's like, here,
Yeah, it was
I'm on
awesome.
the mount with them.
Yeah, your knee over
Not
toe
just talking
penetration still
talking
there.
on a podium.
Your elbow pulse still
yeah.
there. Right? I like that.
And I like coaching them a little
Yeah.
bit.
No, yeah, you're trying to help the kid out.
I've never been a big technician. Like they have the best coaches in the country working with these kids.
Yeah, Coach Russo was a
he's
All-American,
an All-American
Indiana.
for
Yeah,
Indiana. Yeah. I mean, these guys are like
two-time state finalists in Ohio.
right? So for me, it's more about just encouraging them, boosting them up, motivation, connection, so that way they can say, I'm just another guy. I'm just a normal guy.
Yeah.
This is just a normal guy. They'll find me on social media and they'll be
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, this guy, signed the book. It's a big deal. But it's like, I'm just an everyday guy. Like,
I love it.
I'm just an everyday guy. I'm a
a fan.
wrestler. I'm a wrestler.
I'm a
you
fan.
know?
If people want to have Richard Jensen come in and talk about be a champion in life and being a doctor of very poor choices
Yeah.
and very good choices,
yeah. I mean,
how can they contact you? How can they get a hold of you to get the program?
All social media platforms, Be a Champion in Life, website, beachampionlife.com. That's it. Reach out, get online, Google Richard Jensen, Google Be a Champion in Life, and everything shows up. You can learn everything you want about my story. There's videos you can share with your kids. And, we are traveling the country right now. Zeb, my wife quit her job. She's on the road with me right now. We rented our
she's
house.
awesome.
We rented our house out for a year. We've been down for 3 years because of COVID. We do a lot of stuff in the school system. Finally, I got off my hands. That's it. We're planning a national tour. We wrapped up the trailer. We hit the road in Oregon about a month ago and rented out our house for a year, got the shop going. We're on the road. We're living in that thing for a year, maybe two, and we're really trying to make sure that, everybody knows we're out there moving. We're doing it again. And the message is more important today than ever before. My message has gotten more relevant over the years. I started 10 years ago. It's gotten more relevant. Today we got some demise. We got mental health issues. We got suicide issues. We got fentanyl issues. You name it. We need to talk about life with these kids. Talk about some of these dangers, but also encourage leadership and good choices. And so that's what I kind of boxed up. And it's a great program, and it's needed in every school. So yeah. So we're here. We're going down to Canal Fulton. We've got a program there. Then we're over to Binghamton area. We got a couple there. And then we're down to North Carolina. We got one there. And then we're over to Indiana. We got two there. And then we're coming back up to Ohio.
So you're going to catch me on that second time?
We're going to be back up here that first week in November. So we've got Vermilion High School during that period of time. And so hopefully we'll get a couple more schools on board in this area, upstate Ohio. Because I'm going to be here for a week, so we got room for a couple more schools.
Okay, so Northern Ohio, Northeast Ohio, Northwest. Okay.
Somewhere in the
last question.
Yeah.
I know we're on 23 minutes here.
Yeah.
My last question would be, I saw a lot of homeless encampments, and I saw a lot of homeless people walking around kind of aimlessly through Portland this summer. I had to see it. Went out there with two of my friends, the Burnett's. They're from this area, and I was like, I got to see it.
Yeah.
I got married in Portland, so Portland's near and dear to me.
Yeah.
When you see those people and they're wandering around aimlessly, do you know how those people felt? Do you know where those people are right now in life? Were you there? Do you feel like you were where a lot of those people are?
So, yes and no. I understand that hopeless, stuck feeling. Yes, very much so. I can see it today, a lot of mental health coupled with addiction, and I do know very well what that hopeless feeling is, and I lived with it for a long time.
What can they do to help those people?
I don't have a formula for that, Zeb.
It's
a tough ask,
Yeah.
I do know what helped me.
Okay, what worked for you then?
I know
what would you say? What would you say? This is what worked for me.
I know what
would
helped
you say?
me, and that's making sure that I got the proper treatment that I needed, long-term treatment, mentorship, and 12-step, and wrestling. That was what helped me. Okay, that's my recipe for me. That vehicle was wrestling. you know.
Hiking could be the vehicle for one of them. Camping could be
Yeah,
the
yeah,
vehicle for one of them.
it.
Swimming, surfing, something.
And that's what I talk about in my seminars, is about finding that vehicle. Vehicle for me was wrestling. It's a wrestling story. That's okay. It's about
Computer
life.
programming.
Find that vehicle to help keep you focused and on
Knitting.
track. And
I don't know, right?
Yeah.
I'm making things up, right?
No, it's a vehicle.
Yeah.
I don't know what your vehicle is, you know, but
So they need
but
something.
you know
they need
what
something.
your vehicle is.
They need something.
It helps. It helps.
Got it.
Obviously, there's some, you know, obviously some people need long-term treatment but aren't willing to go long-term treatment.
They want 2 weeks.
Yeah. So that
When
was
it
my
needs to be
that was
si-
my
when it needs
issue
to be
for
6 months.
30 days. None of it ever worked. Well, finally I committed to a long-term treatment and it helped. It helped a lot. And I had to do some work and do some other things, but it helped a lot. You know?
So invest time into yourself and a vehicle.
Resources, you know, so some states have better resources than others too.
Gotcha.
You know, programs available too. So, but you know, I think
Everyone's different.
yeah, get around some other people that understand your struggle. You know, and that was big for me. You know,
Okay.
but anyway,
Last thing.
yeah.
Last thing. Last thing.
Oh yeah.
Do you love?
Guy
Do you
Seiko.
love how those just come
Yeah.
right out of the pockets?
Quick release. Hey guys, you know what? Guy Seiko and Defense Soap has supported us for the last few years. Like when I met the family, when he jumped on board and said, "Hey, I want to help sponsor. I want to support you on your mission. I believe in you. I believe in what you're doing." And for me, it was like once I found out who he was, like as a person, and how much I love the soap too. But like I met him and I was like, he's an ex-cop, retired cop. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're from two different worlds, you
Yeah.
know? But it's a reminder that we're doing good stuff and people, it's infectious and people want to be part of it, you know? And when you find other like-minded people that want to be part of the solution, you know, that's huge. And so for me, like if somebody wants to help support me, I'm in big gratitude over it, you know? And he's been way over and above what I ever expected over the last few years. And so I respect the brand. I love my Defense Soap, you know? I use it. I love it. And, you know, it's another one of those things like people wait until they need it. It should be a preventative maintenance thing.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Like my program, too. It should be a preventative maintenance. Like they wait until something happens and then they try to bring us in. It's like,
Reactive
wait
in
a
nature.
minute, hold
We're
on.
reactive in
Yeah,
nature, right?
Yeah, like slow down. Let's be part of the solution. Let's, you know, start these conversations before something happens. And you might actually save some more kids, you know? But, guys, it goes awesome. Zeb,
Yeah.
thanks.
All right. Hey, thank you for the time.
Yeah.
Good luck to you guys
And
moving
this is
forward.
state of the art, dude. He's
Yes.
treating me like a king, so
Yes.
I'm coming back.
Yes.
He's treating me like a king.
We will see you in November.
Yep.
Thank you for the time. Good luck to you guys. Safe travels.
Yep.